Dear students, I welcome you to this second part of the chapter data handling. In the previous part, we have discussed the data types in Python. I think you are all clear with the data types and you have understood all those points that we have discussed in the previous video. And you have also tried some examples that were discussed in the video. Now we will be covering the second most important part, that is operators. So first, what is operator? The symbol that triggers the operation or an action on a data is called operator. Okay, so operator is a symbol through which an action, any type of action or operation is triggered or initiated on the data values is called operator. The data on which the operation is being carried out, that is called operand, O-P-E-R-A-N-D. Okay, so the words are operators and operands. On which the operation will be performed, those will be called operands. So Python has a rich set of operators that has arithmetic operator, assignment operator, relational operators, identity operators, logical operators, bitwise operators, and membership operators. Okay, so we will be discussing them one by one. We have seen the overview of operators in the previous videos also. I think you know that. There I told you that we will be discussing that operators in detail. So here we are to discuss those operators in details. So let's get started. First, arithmetic operators. These are very simple. These operators are being used by you from your class first. Okay. So arithmetic operators in Python can be either unary or binary. Unary means the operators that require only one value to work on, and binary means the operators that require two values to work on. The unary operators, do you remember? Any idea? There are unary plus and unary minus. For example, you write x is equal to minus 5. So here that minus that is being used is unary minus, not a binary minus. And what is a binary minus? X is equal to 5 minus 3. That minus sign is binary minus because it is requiring two values, 5 minus 3. So that minus is between two values. That's why it is binary minus. And if you write x is equal to minus 3, and so that minus is accompanied by just one value. That's why it is unary minus. Okay. So there are two unary operators in arithmetic, that is plus and minus. So if you write x equal to 5, that means we are writing x equal to plus 5. So plus is by default operator. Okay. So you know the operator plus, you already know it, minus, multiplication. Here for multiplication we use asterisk sign. In all the computer languages we use asterisk sign for multiplication. For division we have an operator, it is slash. Then we have a operator that is called modulus operator. Modulus operator means it divides the two operands and gives the remainder. Okay, x divided by y gives the quotient. That means the value that you get, and that value that is attained by division operator is always a float value here. Okay, but the modulus operator gives the remainder, the thing that remains. Okay, you know the remainder and quotient. Okay. Next, here in Python we have an operator for exponentiation, that is power operator. In many languages like C and C++, we do not have any operator for it. Here we use double asterisk sign for it. So if we write x double star y, that means x to the power y. Okay. And we have a special division operator that is called floor division operator, that we write double slash. So x double slash y means divide and truncate the fractional part from the result. So it will divide x by y, and if the result is in fraction, that fractional part will be removed. It will not be shown as answer. So only the integer portion will be showed as the answer. Okay. So these are some new operators here for you. One is exponentiation, that is power. Another is floor division, that gives just the integer value for division and the fractional part is removed. And if you do not have heard about modulus, then it is also a new operator for you that gives the remainder. Please note that the answer, that is the result of a division operator, is always float value. Okay. Next we have assignment operator. Assignment operator is equal to sign. Python has an assignment operator, that is equal to, which assigns the value specified on the right hand side to the variable oblique object on the left hand side of equal to. If you remember, we have already discussed R value and L value. Okay, there I have told you that on the left hand side we can only have a variable or an object. We cannot have a literal there, okay, or an expression. It can just be a variable or object. So that equal to is assignment operator. Python also offers augmented assignment operators, means assignment operators modified, which combines the impact of an arithmetic operator with an assignment operator. So when the assignment operator is combined with an arithmetic operator, it becomes augmented assignment operator. Okay, so how it is, you can see the list. So if you write equal to, that is, example is x equal to 5, that means assign the value 5 in x. Okay, but when you write plus equal to, that the example becomes x plus equal to 3. This means change the value of x, increment the value of x by 3. Okay, so if you write x plus equal to 3, so it can be written as x is equal to x plus 3, or you can say that in place of writing x is equal to x plus 3, you can write x plus equal to 3. Please note that both the variables on the side of equal to must be same. Okay, if it is x equal to y plus 3, then you cannot write x plus equal to 3. Okay, both the variables should be same. So the change in the value should be for the same variable. Okay, similarly we have minus equal to, into equal to, divide equal to, modulus equal to, floor division equal to, and exponential equal to. Okay, it will be clear to you if you see the list and try it at your home or in your smartphone. Okay, next we have relational operators. So relational operator, as the name is very clear, it explains the relation between two operands or two variables. Okay, so it compares the two variables and then establishes a relation. Okay, relational operators determine the relation among different operands. They return true or false value depending upon the comparison. So if the comparison is true, then it returns true, otherwise false. These operators can work with nearly all types of data in Python. Okay, so relational operators can work with every data type. For numeric type, the values are compared after removing trailing zeros after decimal point. So if you write 4 and you write 4.00000, so what Python will do is it will remove all the trailing zeros and will check 4 with 4. Okay, both the values will be 4. So the trailing zeros are removed for numeric comparison. Strings are compared on the basis of lexicographical ordering based on their ordinal values. Ordinal values means ASCII values or their Unicode values. Each character has a special value associated with it. So when you type A, actually the computer doesn't understand A. It will convert it into a particular binary code. So that code sums up to a particular value. It can be ASCII value or it can be Unicode value. So the higher and the lower values, those ordinal values will be compared, not that A and B. Okay, lexicographical means as per the ordering in the dictionary. Okay, here the ordinal value of any character can be seen using the function ORD. So if you write a command ORD and in bracket pass a character within single quotes, you will get the answer. So if you write ORD and in bracket you write single quotes A, so it will give the ordinal value of A. Here the point to note is the ordinal values of lowercase character, that is small a, small b, are larger than the capital case characters. Okay. So these things you should keep in mind, that the lowercase characters have higher ordinal value. So if you try to compare capital A with small a, that small a will be considered as larger. Okay. So whenever you try to compare strings, that thing you should keep in mind. Two lists or tuple are equal if they have same elements in same order, then only those two tuples or two lists will be considered equal. Boolean true is equal to 1 and boolean false is equal to 0, that you have already studied in previous video. Using relational operators with floating point numbers can result in unexpected results, because we store the floating point numbers in a 15-digit precision method. So if you try to compare a value, float value, you must be knowing that in Python those values are stored in 15-digit precision. So 4.0 is equal to 4.0000, that is 15 zeros. And if you have written 4.01, okay, so that float values are stored in a 15-digit precision method. So whenever you try to compare two float values, so you have to bear that in mind, that 15-digit, that is double precision method, is being applied. So according to that the result will come. Okay, and next thing that you should keep in mind is that double equal to operator is completely different from single equal to operator. Okay, the operators, relational operators, you know, actually in mathematics you have used less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, okay, not equal to, and equal to. So these are the operators, relational operators. Here the equal to operator is double equal to, not that single equal to, and not equal to is exclamation mark followed by equal to sign. Okay, now you have to understand the difference between double equal to and single equal to. Single equal to is assignment operator. It is a command that if you write x equal to 5, it means that put the value 5 in x. So it is a command and it will always give the answer in true. But if you write x double equal to 5, it means check whether the value of x is 5 or not. So the answer can be true or can be false. Okay, try to understand. If you write x equal to 5, this means it is a command to store to point x, point value 5 with x. Okay, in Python it will be interpreted as like this, that if you write x equal to 5, it means that a value 5 is to be stored in memory and it is to be referenced using the variable x. So it is a command, it will always give answer as true. But if you write x double equal to 5, that means check whether the value of x is 5 or not. So equality operator is different from assignment operator. So single equal to is assignment operator and double equal to is equality operator or comparison operator. Okay, so difference should be clear to you, and it will get more clear when you work in the upcoming video lessons when we go up to the programming part. Okay, next we have identity operators. There are two identity operators in Python. First one is, another is not. The identity operator are used to check if both the operands reference the same object memory. So these operators are used to check the memory reference. Okay, as we know that in Python variables are memory references. That means they reference to a particular memory location where a value is stored. The identity operator compares the memory location of two objects and then they return true or false according to the comparison. If both the value reference to the same memory location, answer will be true, otherwise false. Okay, if the two objects have same ID, then is operator will return true, else false. So what you can do is you can just check using that ID function the ID of both the operands or both the variables, and then you can check if the values are same, then that is operator will also give the value as true. Okay, so there are two identity operators, is and is not. So if you have written like x equal to 5 and y is equal to 5, and if you check x is y, it will give true, because both x and y are referencing to the same memory location 5. But if you write x equal to 5, y equal to 10, and then you try to check x is 5, then it will give false. Okay. So is and is not, these are identity operators. They check the ID of the variable. The ID means reference, memory reference, that is memory address. So if the memory address is same of two objects, then is operator will return true, otherwise it will return false. And the reverse of is not. Okay. So you should try these examples. Next, the last point was, that is a difference between double equal to and is operator. Okay. What is the difference? That double equal to operator, that is the equality operator, checks the value part of the two objects, whereas is operator will check the ID part of the two objects. I think you know that there are three essential parts associated with each object, the attributes. Those are type, value and ID. So that double equal to operator is used to check the value of two objects, whereas that the is operator is used to check the ID of two objects. If the ID of two objects is same, the is will return true, and that double equal to operator will check the value of those two objects. Here we have a point, very important point. If for any two objects is operator is returning true, then equality operator will also return true. Why so? Because here in Python the variables are memory references. So if x and y are pointing to the same memory location, that means the value of x and y will be same. That means that x double equal to y will always give true. So in Python, if that is operator is returning true, then double equal to operator will return also the same when compared with those two objects. But with some exceptions. There are some exceptions in this situation in Python. Okay. Because in Python there are few cases when it creates two different objects for the same value also. Please keep in mind these situations. First situation is when we input strings from console. That means when you try to get the value from the user using input function. So if you try to get the value from user using input function and you compare it with the string that you have already created, and if the values are same but the IDs will be different, because the Python always creates a new object for a string being entered from the console. Okay. The next situation is when we have a very large integer that is having a lot of digits in it, that is always stored in a new object. Okay. And when we work with floating point and complex numbers, then also Python creates two different objects. So when you will try to compare these variables in these three situations, they will, and if the values are same, then also the is operator will not return true, because Python has a special case for these three situations. First situation, when you input strings from the console using input function, it will always create new object, and for the integers that are very long, that are very large, then also Python will create two different objects. And when you write float numbers or complex numbers, then also Python will create different variables. Okay. So it means that when you store, suppose you write x is equal to an very large integer having 60 digits in it, and the same number you write in next line as y equal to the same number, and if you check the ID of x and y, it will be different. Why so? Because the second condition is there. You are trying to write very large integer, then Python will create different objects for them. That means the value is same, but Python will create different memory location for those large integers. Okay. Same case for complex number and floating point numbers also. Okay. You can try it. It will be fun for you. Try to check the IDs in these three cases. You will get your answer. Okay. Now we have logical operators. What are logical operators? Logical operators are used to combine conditional statements. If there are two conditions and you have to combine them, then you will use these logical operators. There are three logical operators. One is AND, number two is OR, third is NOT. Okay. The description, you can see the AND operator will return true if all the condition, that is on both the sides of that AND operator are true. OR will return true if any one of the condition is true, and NOT, it reverses the result. Okay, please keep in mind that NOT is a unary operator, while the AND and OR operators are binary operators. They work between two values or between two conditions. You can see with AND operator we have two conditions: x less than 5, this is first condition, second condition is x less than 10, and then we have used AND. Okay, if both these conditions are true, then only the answer will be true, otherwise false. Here we have two conditions, this. So any one of the condition is true, the answer will be true. Okay, but that NOT works only with one condition on the right hand side of it. So this NOT is a unary operator, and the other two are binary operator. They work with two values, they work with one operand. Okay, the logical operator NOT works on single expression or operand, and it reverses the truth value of the expression following it. So there the result can only be true or false. Okay, so if the result is true, NOT will convert it into false, or if the result is false, NOT will convert it into true. Okay, now these logical operators can work with expressions, just you see in this example. Okay, these values you can see. Otherwise it can also work with numbers and string. Okay, but in both the cases the working is a bit different. So if you write x or y, where x and y are two expressions, then the answer will be true if all the conditions, that means all the operands, give true as result, otherwise it will false. Okay, sorry, in OR we have true if any one of the operands is true, whereas in AND operator, if any one is false, the answer will be false. Okay, please focus here. If x is less than 5 and x is less than 10, if both the answers are true, then the answer will be true. If any answer is false, the answer will be false. But in this OR operator, if any one of these gets the value as true, the result will be true. Okay. But when we work with numbers and string, this is very important. If there are two numbers x or y, these x and y are numbers or strings, then what will be the answer? If x is false, okay, so if the first one is false, the value will be, the answer will be y, otherwise the answer will be x. Okay, we will see it in the practical session of this data handling chapter, but before that you should be clear with the theoretical concepts a bit, so that you can get more clear when you go to the practical approach. Okay, so here we have written that it only evaluates the second argument if the first one is false. So if there are x and y, there are two numbers or two strings, then the answer will be depending upon the first one. Okay, that's why we have written that it only evaluates the second argument if the first one is false. Okay, so if the first one is true, the answer will be the first one, otherwise the second one. Similarly, the case of AND operator, it only evaluates the second argument if the first one is true. So you can see the difference in the answer. Okay, so if x is false, return x, means the answer will be x, otherwise answer will be y. Okay, so if you are getting confused, we will be clearing your doubts in the session of practicals on this chapter, that is data handling. Okay, Let's move forward to bitwise operator. Bitwise operators are like logical operators, but they work on binary values. Okay, so if you have two values 10, 12, so the bitwise operator will work with the binary representation of those values 10 and 12. Okay, so the bitwise operators are used to change the individual bits of those operands. Okay, what are these operators? AND operator, OR operator, these are bitwise. Okay, bitwise AND, bitwise OR, bitwise OR, bitwise NOT, bitwise left shift, bitwise right shift. Okay, so AND OR, the operations are very clear. Here you will be working with the binary values. Okay, then the binary values, if for a particular set both the values are 1, the answer will be 1. For OR operator, any one of the bit is 1, answer will be 1. So you can see these descriptions here. Okay, this NOT operator, it reverses all the bits. Okay, the answer will be reversed. Then we have that left shift and right shift. What it will do is, if you use left shift, and then what will be after it? It will be a number. Okay, so if you shift the numbers left, the numbers will be shifted left and extra zeros will be added to it. Okay, if you shift any number by 2 to the left, so extra 2 digits of 0 will be added from the right side. Okay, and the leftmost bits fall off. Similarly, right shift. Okay, here the number will be shifted towards right and extra zeros will be added before it. Okay, so that it changes the actual value of that operand. Okay, this thing will be get more clear when we come to the practical portion of these operators, and you must wait for that. Okay, you will get cleared, but before that you must get the basic theoretical information about these. The practical aspect, the working of these operators will get clear in the practical session. Okay, next we have membership operators, in and not in. These operators check the membership of a value inside a sequence. The two membership operators in Python are in and not in. The in operator tests if a given value is contained in a sequence or not. Okay, so suppose you have a tin of rasgulla. So if there is some rasgulla in it, then in operator will return true, and if there is no rasgulla in it, then it will return false. That's why that is called containership or membership operator. So these operators work with all sequence data types. You have studied sequence data types: strings, tuples and lists. These are 3 sequence data types because they are ordered collection. So you will be using this in operator and not in operator in string, tuples and lists. Okay, so get prepared. These 3 will be the chapters coming up. So you will be using that in operator, and it is very important in that practical session of these 3 chapters. Okay, it is very much used in the programs of lists, strings and tuples. Okay, so these operators return either true or false depending upon the result. So you can just have that example of that tin of rasgulla. So if you buy that tin, you will ask your mom will ask if rasgullas are there in that tin. You will say yes, but after you have finished all those rasgullas, if your mom asks, are there rasgulla in that tin, you will say false. Okay, because that container doesn't contain that value that you are looking for. Okay, so we have an example. If we say that D in India, so if that digit, if the character D is contained inside that string India, the answer will be true. So these operators are very useful in the programming of strings, tuples and lists. Okay, great. Then we have the precedence chart. Precedence means when an expression or statement involves multiple operators, Python resolves the order of execution through operator precedence. Like in maths we have BODMAS rule. Here we have that operator precedence chart that explains that which operator has the highest precedence. Here the exponentiation operator, that is double star, has the highest precedence. Means if these operators that are listed here occur in a single expression or a single statement, then that exponentiation operator will be treated as the highest precedence operator. It will be treated first, and the lowest precedence is of OR operator, that is Boolean OR. Clear? So you can see the operator precedence, and you must remember these operator precedence, and it will be very important when you try to get the output of some particular Python code, and it can be a question in your exams also. Okay, so this chart you must remember. Next we come to operator associativity. So Python allows multiple operators in a single expression. For example, you can see we can use multiple operators in a single expression. If the operators used in an expression have different precedence, then it is no problem for Python. It will use precedence table to get the highest precedence first. Okay, but when an expression has two or more operators that have same precedence, what will be the order of execution then? Then the term associativity will help to determine the order of operation. Associativity is the order in which an expression having multiple operators of same precedence is evaluated. For example, if your expression, if you are having a mathematical expression have all these four operators together in a single expression, so how will the Python execute? Which one will be executed first and which one will be the last? Okay, then to decide this thing we have operator associativity. Okay, so in Python there is only one operator, that is exponentiation operator, that has an associativity of right to left. That means the rightmost will be executed first, then the left one, then the, and so on. But all the remaining operators have left to right associativity. That means the leftmost operator that is there will be executed first. Okay, so the operator on the left is evaluated first, and then the operator on its right and right and so on. Okay, so the term of associativity helps us when we get two or more operators of same precedence in an expression. Clear? I think this operator is clear to you. Precedence and associativity, both the terms are clear. Great. So this operator term is over for now. Now we have some few new terms. First one is expression. We are talking about expression many a times in this video lesson. So what is an expression? It is a valid combination of operators, literals and variables. Okay. An expression is composed of one or more operations with operators, literal and variables. The expression in Python can be arithmetic, string, relational, logical, compound expression. Okay, so expression means combination of operators with operands, literals, variables, etc. Okay, suppose you write x plus y minus 3 into 7 plus z. So we have used various operators, some literals, that is constants, and some variables. So that it becomes an expression. Okay, so how to decide the type of expression? The type of operators and operands that we use in an expression will determine the type of expression. So if you write x plus 3 minus 5 plus z, that means you are using arithmetic expressions, arithmetic operators and arithmetic operators here, that so that it becomes arithmetic expression. So if you use string operators, then it becomes string expression. If you use relational operators, it will become relational expression. Likewise, logical expression. But an expression can be a compound expression if it involves multiple type of operator. So if an expression is using two arithmetic operators, one relational operator, one logical operator, then it becomes a compound expression. Okay, I think it is clear to you. It is very simple. Okay, so this term expression will be used many a times in our discussion. Next, we come to very important topic, that is type conversion. Type conversion means converting a data type into another data type. Okay, so changing the type of an object is known as type conversion. So Python supports two type of conversion. One is implicit, that is automatic, and another will be explicit, that is forced. Okay. So implicit type conversion is performed by the compiler or interpreter itself without programmer's intervention. So you will not intervene in the conversion process. It will be decided by the compiler or the interpreter that is inside, that is running. For in case of Python, you have interpreter. An implicit conversion is applied generally whenever differing data types are intermixed in expression so as not to lose information. So if you are having different data types in a single expression, then the language uses implicit type conversion. What it will do is, it will convert all the smaller data types into the largest one. Okay. So in a mixed arithmetic expression, Python converts all operand up to the type of the largest operand. So if you have, suppose you have 3 integer operands and 1 float operands in your expression, then Python will convert all that integer operands to float operands. Okay, you have used in your primary classes also. Suppose you have the addition of decimal numbers and one number is having without decimal. So what you do is, you just add 0.0 by yourself. So if you have to subtract or multiply or add a decimal number with integer, then what you do is, you just apply an extra 0.0 with that integer. Okay, suppose you have to subtract 5.5 minus 2. So what you write? 5.5, below it you write minus, then 2.0. That 0.0 you add by yourself. That is implicit type conversion. You have converted the type of 2 to 2.0. So you have converted an integer to float by yourself for the sake of operation. Okay. So the same thing is said in the last point. If an expression has a floating point type operand and the rest are integers, then all the integer operands will be converted to floating point numbers for the operation, and it is done by the Python interpreter implicitly. Okay, you will not be bothered about this. Okay. Next we have type casting, that is explicit type conversion. So here you will force the conversion of the data type. Okay. An explicit type conversion is a user defined conversion that is forced by the user. Okay. So it will force an expression to be of specific type. You will say that change this data type into this type. Okay. Then that order will be followed by the language interpreter or compiler, whatever it is. Okay. So explicit type conversion is also known as type casting. Okay. Both the words are synonym, so it can be given as explicit type conversion or type casting. So type casting in Python is performed by type function. Okay, you will use that data type and use a function of appropriate data type. Okay, so the syntax of changing a data type will be, you will write the data type and in parenthesis you will give the expression. So whatever data type you write before this, that expression will be changed to that. Okay, so the Python supports following data conversion. It supports conversion into int, float, complex, string and bool. So these are the functions that will be used to convert any expression to a particular type. So what you will do is, you will write that expression in these brackets. Okay, and this function will convert it into that particular type. Please note that assigning a value to a type with a greater range poses no problem. If you are converting integer to float, there will be no problem, because if you write 2 or if you write 2.0, both the things are same. No information loss is there. But if you convert a larger data type to a smaller data type, it may result in losing information. Okay, so if you convert 2.5 to integer, that 0.5 will be lost. You will just get 2. So that fractional part will be lost. So please keep in mind, while imposing typecasting, there can be a data loss. So you must take precautions before doing any typecasting. Okay, you have to keep it in mind because some information may be lost, and when you are dealing with a large project, then it is very important to take care of this typecasting. Okay, because if you consider, suppose you consider salary as integer, but in some organization the salary can be in points also, then the user will lose his salary. So it is very important for him. So please take care of this typecasting. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this chapter, and as promised we have a memory tester for you. So get ready for the memory tester. I think you are ready, so let's see what the test is. Okay, so here are the questions for you for the memory tester. If you are well aware about all the theoretical concepts that have been discussed in these 2 lessons, I think you will be able to answer all these questions. I know that many of you are knowing the answers, and some of you may be just forgetting some points. So it is better for you to just have a revision of both the lessons again, and then come back to this memory tester and then try these questions by yourself. Okay, the very simple questions that are having fill in the blanks and yes no type. Okay, that can come in your examination as 1 marks question. Okay, so try these memory testers, and at the end, as the custom says, we have the assessment time, some assignments for you, some questions, theoretical questions that can appear in the examination from this chapter. So try to solve these questions, and it will be enough from this chapter for you. Okay, so we have discussed the operators and the data types. These are the backbone of Python. Okay, so you must be aware about all these concepts in detail, and this chapter will help you a lot in beginning with the programming part of this Python language. Okay, which we will be beginning in a gap of few video lessons only. I think only a single video lesson will be there. After that we will be dipping inside that ocean of Python programming. Okay, so before dipping there, you should be clear and you should be equipped with all the tools of Python that we have discussed in all these previous video lessons, from the beginning one up to this one. Okay, so if you are ready to dip inside that ocean of programming in Python, you must revise all those videos again at your grasping speed, and you should instill those points inside you, and then you and me together we will dive inside that ocean of programming in Python. Okay, so be ready, be prepared, and we will meet in the next video lesson.